I can't believe you weren't even here for this whole venture.
This might be the first election I have missed in however long I've worked on elections.
A long time.
14 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And you weren't even here.
Yep.
And then all the candidates had to ask me questions, and I don't know the answers to their questions. I don't know how many people were supposed to vote. I don't know. Can we call it yet? I don't know. Ask Jackie. Can't ask Jackie. Jackie's in Italy.
Yep.
Jackie's gone.
It was like, well, you know what? My friend scheduled their wedding for the day before the primary.
Which I think is very rude they didn't consider the primary election schedule.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody should consider the election
Which
years.
does determine our big major life decisions, is what year is it?
Yes.
And what time of year is it?
Yeah, that's how Gabby and I have scheduled most of our life, is like, can you schedule it in a year that ends in an odd number? Those are going to be better for us.
Those are better years. No, there's no midterm or presidential year major decisions happening.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no.
2-year cycles.
Exactly.
I did miss this election, but very good news. Maybe I should be out of the country more for elections.
Just get real weird and superstitious with it. Jackie needs to leave for November 3rd.
I actually always have to be in Europe. That's the preference.
Oh, no.
That's a bummer.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Well, that is part of the reason why we haven't done this for a minute, but also partially because we've been very busy working on primary elections.
Yep.
So much has happened, and we're not going to talk about what you want us to talk about today.
Yeah, we're really
put
not.
That out there.
I feel like it's so hard to do these things based on like this very specific moment of time, because I already feel like most of this is irrelevant, but also I think most people like are enjoying their summer vacations and not paying attention to the fact that there was a primary election at all.
Let alone paying attention to the fact that there is another election in a few months. Yeah. That is also very important.
Yeah. So we'll do a little bit of recap and like talk about what happened for this June primary election, what we think it means for the rest of the year, and also like what you should be paying attention to going into the November elections, because turns out there are elections happening right now. And
turns out. I don't know if you've heard.
And this one was pretty crazy. Like, it actually was a pretty crazy election for Utah.
It really was, yes. Well, speaking of Utah, I'm Gabby.
And I'm Jackie.
Welcome back to Elevate Utah. I don't know. Most people I feel like that have a podcast have like a name for it that's different than like the other things. I don't know. If you have ideas, let us know. Drop them in the comments.
Send them our way. Or if you make a theme song.
Yeah. We need a theme song.
We need something. We don't know how to do this.
Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba.
We really had we had good intentions to do this like every 2 weeks, which we will get back on track.
We were busy.
We needed a little bit of a break because, as a reminder, we do work in campaigns and we do run campaigns. And so this whole side project of like telling people about stuff is like always the last thing on our to-do list. So
yes, sorry about that, everybody. But now that we have a little bit more time, a little more breathing room at least, we'll get back at it.
Yeah, we will.
It's exciting.
Yeah, we have some fun stuff planned, like some fun ideas for some podcasts.
Yes, we sure do. I'm very excited about that. Okay, so June 23rd, a day that will live in infamy in my heart. It's a big day. These were our primary elections for 2026. Mm-hmm. And a lot of things happened with a lot of implications. Mm-hmm. Namely, first and foremost, our Senate President, Stuart Adams. Jabez Stuart Adams.
Jabez Stuart Adams.
The J does stand for Jabez, not John.
If there's one thing you need to know about Stuart Adams, that is the fun fact.
J. Stuart Adams, indeed.
Jabez.
He is no longer. We'll get into that, obviously, far more.
Yeah.
Trevor Lee, the worst representative. Bye.
Nobody will miss you.
Mm-mm. Senator Dan McCay, who we have lots of thoughts and opinions on, also out. One of the most powerful people in the Senate, aside from Stuart Adams.
Bad night to be a Republican incumbent.
Indeed. And 2 Box Elder County commissioners also lost. We're not going to talk about this as much, but it is important to me to just mention as well that Aaron Davidson, who is the Utah County clerk, who was trying to hire Kai Schwimmer, a neo-Nazi, far-right, 23-year-old Republican activist, as his deputy county clerk, also lost his re-election.
Yeah.
Mostly to do with the Kai Schwimmer situation, not to mention the fact that he has messed up the ballot printing process and counting process, like, every year.
He's been bad. He's been really bad for a long time.
Yes, he has. But at the end of all of this, I think the most important thing to keep in mind here is that, like, this is a super rare thing that happened in Utah.
Yeah. I mean, and then obviously the other giant thing that happened in Utah elections was the Democratic primary. Yes. We had, for the first time in... Pause for garbage.
Can you stop rolling your garbage cans right now? Damn, putting their cans out at 5 p.m. the night before. They're on top of things. I'm usually like a 7 a.m. type of lady myself.
Get up from your dead sleep.
You hear it. Shit! Gotta get my trash out! No, literally, it's me in like a giant sweatshirt and like slippers running around outside. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks, neighbors. Anyway, back to this.
Okay. So the other giant thing that happened was the Congressional District 1 Democratic primary. Yes. And this was the first really competitive Democratic primary that Utah has had in a long time.
In a really long time, yeah.
I don't know the exact stats, but...
Long time. That's as much stat as you need. Good while.
Yeah. And Congressman Ben McAdams, former Congressman Ben McAdams...
Future Congressman
Ben
McAdams.
Won pretty handedly in the primary. And... You know, I think for the purposes of today's episode, we probably aren't going to talk about the Democratic primaries all that much because, one, the Republican ones, there's so much to talk about.
Yes.
But the other thing is that we run Democratic campaigns for a living. We work for some of these candidates. We work for a lot of these candidates. They are our clients, but, like, this is our job. And we're still trying to figure out exactly what the balance is on, like, how we talk about our clients on this channel and what that looks like, and making sure we're feeling like we're not using this platform to give them any extra attention.
Yeah.
But also, like, we want to be honest with you about who we work for and why, because we think we take a lot of time to decide who we're going to work for because we want them to be good elected officials. And so, I don't know, if you have thoughts or ideas or ways you would like us to talk about Democratic primaries or our candidates that are running in November, we are open to suggestions on what that should look like, but that we want to make sure that this channel is focused on Utah politics and making our state a better place, which is what we've always wanted to do.
Yeah, I think too, like, with this channel especially, like, we started doing this to help give people information and to educate people on what's going on and make it digestible and hopefully fun and interesting to listen to. But aside from our actual jobs that we do, like, I don't think that we see this platform as an opportunity for us to tell people who to vote for.
Yeah.
I think, like, that's always been my biggest hesitation of talking about it, is, like, it's not really my business who you vote for. I am here to give you as much information as I can that we have compiled, whatever it is, and then you should make your own decisions about who you want to vote for. Like, it's not, I don't want to sit here and be like, you should vote for these candidates because I think that they should be in office. Like, you should make your own decision. And so, yeah, we've gone back and forth quite a lot, but yes, to Jackie's point, if you have ideas or have thoughts or, I don't know, let us know, because we're open to, we're figuring this out at the same time as you are. Like, we are not content experts or journalists or whatever. Like, we're just here to try and give people information, so.
But this is also our job, and, like,
that is
that is, like, what our normal day job is. And if you haven't listened to our Get to Know You episode, I would plug that, because we do talk a lot about our experience and what that is like.
Okay, without further ado, let's get into dedicating an entire podcast episode to talking about the Republicans eating themselves alive.
We don't get to do this very often in Utah. Okay, let a girl live for a minute here.
That's exactly right. Let me have my little prize, a little treat, if you will.
Just, like, I don't know, the theme of the night was accountability for bad behavior, I think.
Yeah. And not entirely. I think there are obviously still a number of Republican incumbents that did win their re-elections.
Yeah.
That was a big bummer for a lot of people, namely Brady Brammer and Jordan Tusher, who both had more moderate Republicans running against them. And I think each of them lost for different reasons.
Yeah.
And I know every time we've talked about the people that did lose, people always bring up Brammer and Tusher as like, well, it's not all good. Yes, I know that. I am aware that Brady Brammer is still in the Senate, okay? I got it. But
everything is black and white. Either it was really bad or really good.
Right, exactly. But if we step back just a little bit, I think it's important for us to acknowledge what happened, why these people did lose, and then take those skills and apply them to other places.
Yeah.
And keep in mind that there are also Democrats running against these people as well. This is not like it's a lost cause forever. It's going to be a lot harder. But yes, to your point, there are still a lot of Republicans, to the internet people's point, there are a lot of people that are still in office that we don't think should be in office, but we're going to spend today talking about the people that did lose their elections and why that happened and how we can actually use that going forward.
Yeah. Okay, Jabez.
Jabez.
Oh, man. Okay, so Stuart Adams, President Stuart Adams, was in the legislature for 24 years.
Yes. He was in the House first for like half of that time, I think. And if I remember correctly, he was appointed the first time. He didn't actually run and win the first time. He was appointed and then ran for re-election as an incumbent, which means he was never actually elected to begin with, but then he never lost for 24 years, even when he went to switch to the Senate seat in like 2012, I want to say.
I don't know. Also, like, a ton of the Utah legislature was first appointed. Like, that's the majority of all of them were all appointed before they actually were elected by the people.
Yeah. A very common problem. So, Senate president, arguably the most powerful person in the state, definitely one of the top 3 most powerful people in the state, for sure. He has been chair or co-chair of basically everything that you can be chair and co-chair of in your life. He's, like, in every photo of everything ever. He is, like, the ribbon-cutting king. Like, he has more ribbon cuttings than you have relatives. It's insane.
And is he a developer, too?
He owns a construction company.
Okay.
So, yes. Which is, I guess, essentially a development company. But, yes.
Yeah, okay. Tracks.
Yeah. And this was the first cycle he ever had a primary. Up until this point, for 24 years, he was considered to be, like, untouchable. He is too powerful. He's too good. There's no reason that people should run against him because you're not going to win. Mm-hmm. This year, he had 5 people run against him from 3 different parties.
Insane.
And in his first primary ever, he lost to Stephanie Hollis.
Yeah. So he only got 34% of the vote.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 5,900 votes. And Stephanie Hollis got 43% of the vote with 7,500 votes. And Braden Hess was the third candidate with 22.8% of the vote, 3,900 votes, which is really interesting, this breakdown, because he really had it coming from both sides.
Yeah,
and
the guy, what was his name?
Braden
Hess.
Hess.
He was running to the right of Stuart Adams. Mm-hmm. And then Stephanie was more of a centrist.
Yeah. It's pretty rare, too, that you would see a breakdown like this, that the centrist candidate is the one that actually pulls it off in a 3-way race. Like, typically that would actually favor Adams, that he would come out, because the other two, anti-establishment would split that vote.
And they're essentially unknown.
Yeah.
Where he's been there forever.
Yeah. But to see, 12,000 people in his district, far more, let's see, 65% of the district voting against him.
That is also a super high turnout election. In these midterms, in this primary, we saw a lot of these Senate districts turn out, only a few thousand votes total. Mm-hmm. But that was not the case for this race. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of that, I think there's, multiple factors to how this all happened. But, the biggest piece of this is obviously the Stratos project, which we can come back to. But the second piece of it is that this is the first time that I can recall, especially going against an incumbent, that we have seen this much money from outside groups spent in a down-ballot election, which was incredibly remarkable to see. Ads, mail, text messages, people knocking on doors and making phone calls, so many people and so much money. In
such a small race. You were seeing people put out pictures of the amount of mail pieces that they got in this district, which is, I think for us who have run elections in other states, that is pretty normal to us, and we know that. But for people in Utah, this is our entire point, is that elections haven't been competitive. Mm-hmm. And so people haven't been campaigned to in that way. They haven't gotten that many mail pieces. Yeah. I think, one, it sort of, people will make the argument that it turns people off, but I would actually make the argument that it works.
Yes.
I mean,
clearly,
you can see in
look
the
at
numbers.
The turnout numbers.
Yeah. And I know people can feel like frustrated when they're getting so many mail pieces and they're like so annoyed, but like what that means is that people are paying attention and there are things happening and for a reason. And he would not have been sending all of those AI generated mailers if he wasn't scared. Can we come back to that?
And the AI generated video ads. Let's just
we have to maybe insert clips of those.
Yeah, we'll put them in. If you're not watching on YouTube, this is what you should. We'll put it in here. It is incredible.
State Senator Stuart Adams never stops working to lower your taxes. He expanded child tax credits, eliminated Social Security tax for thousands of Utah seniors, cut gas taxes, and cut state taxes $1.5 billion. Utah ranks #1 in economic outlook for 19 years in a row. Stuart Adams is delivering. Paid for by Stuart Adams for Senate.
They were some of the worst ads I've ever seen.
Also, again, the irony of someone who, we'll come back to the Stratos stuff, but like someone who is in a very politically vulnerable position because he is the one that like muscled through this proposed giant AI data center, using AI to try and justify his decision to have an AI data center in the worst possible way with the worst ads you've ever seen is... It's art.
It actually is.
The script writers really popped off with that one.
The mail pieces were, I mean, just also, maybe this feels all so weird because it's also new. Like, we haven't seen AI used in campaigns like this so much.
Yeah.
To see a mailer that has, like, such explicitly AI-generated content, just, like, obviously AI content, is just, I don't know, it just feels weird to me, and it feels shocking because, like, I don't think we would ever do that. Like, you know, it just feels inauthentic in so many ways.
For sure.
And
it wasn't even good AI.
No.
It was, like, really bad AI, too. This was, like, ChatGPT version 1 AI, not, like, Nano Banana Plus or whatever. Like, it's bad. It's bad.
And maybe it's also evidence that this style of campaigning, fingers crossed, like, isn't gonna work. Like, it's not like he's like going to voters with like pictures of him actually doing work or doing real things that deliver for the community or interacting with people who actually live there. He is just typing into a computer an image that he thinks is creative and funny and
computer, make me re-electable.
I don't know. It feels so weird. And it just, the AI ads are just like really something to me.
We're going to see a lot more of them though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, and I think they're going to get better and you're not going to be able to tell as much that it's AI and it's going to be really weird. And I don't know what we're going to do about that, but this is one of the reasons why we need to have federal regulations around AI, especially when it comes to politics. Like,
this cannot keep going. Like, it really freaks me out. It really freaks me out.
There's going to be something crazy, I'm sure, before now in November. Maybe it's not here. It's going to be somewhere, though, across the country that it's going to be a huge problem, and it needs to be regulated because this is just not okay. Anyway, speaking of AI and things that are not okay.
Yeah. I mean, just continuing on the background of Stuart Adams and, like, who he was before this election, I do think it's important
before he was a loser.
Before he lost.
Sorry. Sorry, Bez.
I don't know. I think it's important to talk about his leadership style. And
please explain.
I mean, like, okay, until a couple of years ago, if you would have told me, like, a Senate president, I would have been like, okay, it sounds good. Sure. Like, you know, they don't really matter. And, like, most normal people couldn't name that Stuart Adams is the Senate president.
Most people in this country can't tell you who the Speaker of the House is, let alone who their state Senate majority leader is.
Insane. But, like, that role is incredibly important for a number of reasons. But the way that he actually sat in that role and the way that he led was also, I mean, he was
objectively incredible.
Yeah.
He ran the Senate with, like, an iron fist up until this last session, really.
And he knew what he was doing. Like, he, behind the scenes, was pulling every string that he could.
Yes.
And people in the Senate have told us, and they know that, like, he truly was he was telling people what to do at every moment of time. And if you did not do what he said, like, you were going to hear from him. And he was known to have a temper.
Too, but like, you're going to get, your primary opponent's going to be fully funded by the Senate president, or you're going to lose your committee appointments, or none of your bills are ever going to pass out of this chamber. Like, there are so many things, or like, you're not going to get your appropriations requests funded.
Yep.
Like, there are so many things that they can really do behind the scenes that you will never know about unless you were there for the conversation or someone tells you about it. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and it wasn't a secret that he would have a temper and that
He's a very scary man.
He was vindictive. Like, he was incredibly vindictive, but it also made him, in a lot of ways, like, a very important leader in the Republican Party and in the state. And that's why I think he had never had a primary opponent until this year, because people were scared. Yeah.
Like, really?
And I don't know, I think that's important context for this election, because it was already crazy for him to have two opponents. And, you know, I think most people in the Republican Party would have told you that he would never lose.
Totally. 100%. I think that's exactly right. I think that's why it was so shocking when this did happen. And the fallout from this is going to be really, really interesting in terms of the dynamic in the Senate. Like,
yes,
I have many
big,
questions.
yeah.
But the other thing that he was really good at, and will, I'm sure, continue to be good at until he's actually out of office in January, is doing blatant corruption, but in a way that's so explainable. And, like, in a way that you can explain it away. In every individual instance, there was a justification for why that happened. And so it's a lot harder to put the pieces together if you're just hearing, you know, little bits and pieces about why it's fine or what the real explanation is. When in reality, like, if you see it up close, he was one of the most powerful and power-wielding to his own benefit politician that the state has seen in a long time. It's genuinely kind of impressive.
And I feel like the Stratos project feels like this, like glimpse behind the curtain that we got into like this, and then, like, if you pull it back, like, there is so much more that has happened in his 24 years in the legislature that, like, we could talk about it all day.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess we've been kind of dancing around this, but I think that the nail in the coffin, I guess, is the Stratos project. Stuart Adams is the chair of MIDA, the Military Installation Development Authority, which is a body in Utah that is like a quasi-governmental agency. And they are the ones that approved and passed and pushed through this 40,000-acre hyperscale data center campus that is being proposed in Box Elder County at the north tip of the Great Salt Lake. And they had to override local control, local zoning laws, all kinds of things in order to get this done. And they did it. MIDA did this, intentionally kept out of the public eye. And Stuart Adams is the chair of that organization. And I think
could still be, even after he loses this election.
This is true. He could still stay there if he wants to.
Which is, I think, like, seeing how these state boards work and how much power they have just shows you exactly what having a single party control this, like, looks like in practice for our state. And, you know, so many people just learned about MIDA and what it can do and the power that it has, but, like, no doubt he's known that for a really long time. Like, he has known exactly what power that authority has and how to use it.
Yeah, I mean, they can issue bonds, they negotiate directly with developers, they can transfer land to developers, they can give out tax breaks, tax incentives, all kinds of things that move millions and millions of taxpayer dollars into private development. And they've been doing this for a long time. This is just a interesting sort of, like, intersection of these things that most people don't typically think about. And I think the thing that, I mean, people were furious about this project. We could talk about this, and I'm sure we will talk about this at some point, which we are not going to do today. But this project made a lot of people really, really upset. I mean, this was a giant project that was not discussed with the public whatsoever. It has massive implications on the environment, on the economy, on the surrounding areas, and Adams' name was attached to it the entire time because of his position on the MIDA board.
Mm-hmm. And his campaign donations coming from
yes.
MIDA, people that had projects in front of MIDA, not necessarily the Stratos project, but other developers. And you can just see these direct ties to the position that he holds and the people who have incentives to do that, giving him money to his reelection. Like, it is all tied together.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that he probably assumed that this project would be the same as any other project that he's approved on the MIDA board.
Yep.
And all his other scandals. But they have proposed this giant data center that is bigger than Bryce Canyon National Park.
Mm-hmm.
It is 2.5 times the size of Manhattan. They want to build this, like, small nation state in Box Elder County and just ask everyone to be chill about it.
Yep.
And they were like, no, we're not going to be chill about this. And it really came back to bite him in the ass. Like, it really did.
It did. It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you could see over the course of the campaign in the last couple of months him get more and more scared about it, and him writing a letter to ask to have this project shrunk by 50%? 75%.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to make some strides to, like, no, we're actually making it better. I'm trying to improve things, where, you know, clearly he was scared.
Yeah. Well, and then he used that letter that he wrote saying that he wanted it to be shrunk as in his political ads and in his mail.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was obviously a very political thing because he knew that this was going to be a huge problem for him. And he was right.
Yep. He was.
He was right. Yeah, like, I think the point of all this is that, like, not one single part of this is the entire story or the reason that he lost. I think if he was, like, the most clean, scandal-free politician in the world and he approved the MIDA project, it's still, the Stratos project, it still might have cost him his election, but I don't think that it would have been the same way that it is now. I think this is years of issues and scandals and problems that have gotten him a bit of a reputation. And at some point, you can't explain away every scandal as misinformation or people trying to, you know, politically grandstand or whatever it is. Like, there is a line, and I think he definitely crossed it. And after 24 years, voters in that district said that they had had enough.
Mm-hmm.
So the TLDR, I think, of this whole thing is that there is no amount of institutional power that makes you untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
Despite what everyone says, despite what position you might be in or how popular you think you are, no one is immune from accountability, especially, and I know people have feelings about this because everyone hates money in politics, but especially when it comes to people spending money against you.
Mm-hmm.
That is the biggest thing that we can do to actually get these people out of office, is to soften the ground for a long time about telling people what their representatives are actually doing and making sure that people know that they do have a real decision, they do have a real choice, and making sure that we actually are offering them a real choice in an election.
Yeah, so we'll see who they end up choosing as the next Senate president, and they will have to rearrange all of their leadership positions in the Senate. And so that's going to be a very exciting start to the next legislative session next year. And create some interesting dynamics.
Yeah, it's been interesting. There was some reporting recently that Adams has kind of been, like, mentoring Kirk Collimore to take over as Senate president, which I don't think is a very well-kept secret.
No, because he's the majority leader right now.
He is the majority leader, yes, and I think that that's, like, sort of been the plan.
Yeah.
But it will be really interesting to see what happens, because I think now with Adams out, with people knowing that everyone's more vulnerable than they think they are they going to, you know, follow in the footsteps that Adams wants them to and pick Collimore? And has Collimore done the work to actually earn those votes from his colleagues? Or is there going to be somebody else that's going to be able to step in and whip up those votes and take the Senate in a different direction? I really genuinely do not know what's going to happen.
There are only 22 of them, which creates, like, such a funny dynamic, I think, in, like, an election. It feels like such a class election, you know? The drama.
Yes,
it's going to be really fun.
The cliques.
I can't wait.
It's like high school.
I can't wait.
It's kind of like a student body president election. It's
going to be so fun. Trevor Lee.
Oh my god.
We put out like, I don't know how many episodes of
Hundreds.
this podcast, like 3 episodes of this
podcast?
podcast,
Yeah, like 3.
and we've like spent like 30% of the time talking about Trevor Lee. I feel like
That's for sure true. Yeah. It pains me when we have to bring him up, but also he has like been the most important person to talk about for the last couple of years.
It's so true. It's so true.
He is a toxic cancer in that body. And guess what? He's gone. Look, at the end of the day, Trevor Lee has been one of the most toxic, loud, aggressive, unnecessary, cruel members of the legislature. And he's only been there for 2 terms, which is insane. Because, like, the amount of energy spent on this man, both from Republicans and Democrats and reporters, would make you think that he's been there longer than Stuart Adams.
Yeah. I truly forget, because he is such, like, a pivotal figure in the, I don't know, it, like...
He really made a name for himself.
What's he gonna do next?
Maybe he'll go back to Home Depot. I have no idea. Hopefully having hundreds of little children. But yeah. So yes, Trevor Lee, 2 terms, and he's done. As a reminder, this last session, he ran 12 bills and passed 0 of them. There was only 1 other member of the legislature that passed 0 bills last session. It's not like it's bad luck. His own caucus would not touch him. They would not deal with him. Like, he's the worst. And,
I mean, that was sort of a sign.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, it was a big, blaring sign. But,
totally.
like, once your own party has disowned you like that, it's not going to be good.
Yes. And we've seen this happen over the last few cycles, actually, both in the Democratic and the Republican caucuses in the legislature. But yeah, if you're on the outs with your own party and there's an opportunity for you to actually lose, if there's a real candidate running against you, it's not looking good. Because mostly, like, the incumbents oftentimes will, and I don't know if this happened or not, but, like, oftentimes their leadership in their, whatever, like the Democratic caucus, Republican caucus, whatever it is, everyone in the caucus typically will support that person.
Yep.
They have these PACs where they will donate money to incumbents to keep them in their seats. They will give money from their individual campaign accounts to support people that are in their own party, because that's what you do with your colleagues.
Yeah, and typically you'll see their leadership too, like the Senate president or the Speaker of the House, come out and support, and they each have their own PACs as well, where they typically spend either directly or on behalf of their caucus to make sure that their incumbents stay in office, and didn't see that this year.
Ooh, tough. But to be fair, I would rather be broke than ever give money to Trevor Lee as well, so I'm with you on that one.
Yep.
Some of his greatest hits, as a quick reminder, we'll do this very quickly.
Great.
There it is. Trevor Lee is the author of the Pride Flag ban. You can see in our background the Pride Flag, very important. HB 77, this was last year. This banned pride flags and most other flags from classrooms and government buildings, any sort of like government-funded entity. And it was very clearly aimed at stopping cities like Salt Lake from having pride flags, from pride celebrations. It was targeted for sure at any teachers in public schools who maybe had an inclusive flag on their wall to make sure kids knew that they were in a safe space. These were all things that were directly targeted. And, of course, Salt Lake City, shout out to Aaron Mendenhall, our mayor, sidestepped this almost immediately by adopting a modified version of the Progress Pride flag, the Juneteenth flag, the transgender flags as official city flags, which was essentially a loophole in this legislation to say, like, no, the Pride flag is an official city flag, which means that we can put it up and people can have it in their classrooms and we can do whatever we want, which was just delightful.
Just beautiful.
Delightful. I mean, he spent the entire legislative session trying to be like, no more pride flags, no more rainbows anywhere, and then the mayor and the city council were like, cool, sounds good, that's just our flag now. This is just the flag of our city.
Yep.
And there's nothing he could do about it. And it was genuinely one of the most entertaining and funniest possible things that Utah politicians have done in a long time.
Oh, man. I don't think we need to talk about HB 88 in great detail because we spent an entire podcast talking about it, but one of the worst pieces of legislation to have ever been written, and just an awful, awful bill that truly would have changed so much about our state and would have stripped immigrants of so many basic human rights, and also like had terrible consequences for everyone else if we aren't protecting immigrants and from domestic violence, or providing vaccines or shelters or food banks or crisis counseling or SNAP benefits or the 100 other things that bill did. And I mean, thank God that bill died still, but like that was one of the worst pieces of legislation, just like truly cruel, that we have ever seen.
Yeah. And as a reminder, that bill didn't necessarily die because a lot of people, well, there were some Republicans that were against the substance of it, but a lot of it's because it had Trevor Lee's name on it. And he was too toxic of a figure for people to get on board with his legislation.
Yep.
Even if he was running the most like boring legislation in the world, people still didn't want to support it because he was such
like the pregnancy parking spots?
Oh my good Lord. Yes, exactly like that. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, and just to cap it off, like his intention that he said out loud with HB 88, this immigration-focused bill, was to make conditions so bad for undocumented immigrants in Utah that they would quote-unquote self-deport. He also had the bill that would change the word gender to the word sex in all of Utah code, which would legalize hate crimes against trans people, legalize discrimination in housing and employment for trans people. It had bizarre restrictions on employees of public institutions that were transgender, like they couldn't be face-to-face with a minor for more than a certain amount of time. Just like a genuinely terrible bill. Again, it did not pass mostly because of him, but he introduced this last session the two of the most horrific and cruel and unnecessary pieces of legislation in the entire country.
Yep.
Which is not great for him. Not to mention his bill that would have given pregnant women temporary disabled parking passes, because that's how we solve the fertility crisis in this country.
It's a good one. It's a really good idea.
Yes.
I will say, like, I mean, love nothing more than seeing people like Trevor Lee lose their elections. I think it is an important step that we're making, but it also in some ways scares me, because it is one thing to have someone like Trevor Lee running these bills, and to your point, like the reason that they don't pass is because of his toxic image.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I think what we see, and you see this in Utah all the time, is that people run bad bills all the time and they get away with it because they are quiet. Yeah, and they pretend, and they're like, oh, we're so moderate and so
we're
reasonable.
Trying to solve this other problem that's unrelated to the actual intention of the underlying bill.
Which makes them like sneak through a little bit easier.
And well, yeah, because every time Trevor Lee had a bill file open, like everyone had like red alert on and we're like, well, this has got to be bad.
Yeah. Where, like, I don't know, it's just, like, he was so much more blatant about it, and it really does, like, scare me that we still will see this kind of legislation take hold, but we won't see the same attention that he was able to get around his issues because of, like, his approach. And, I mean, all the more reason to keep paying attention to these people and making sure that we are reading the fine print and every single bill that goes through, because they do sneak a lot of that stuff in, and without a firebrand like Trevor Lee to distract from the real issues, like, I don't know, we have to be careful.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't considered that, but you are exactly right. And I don't know, I think Trevor Lee also had quite a big impact on sort of the tone of the whole body in a lot of ways. I think that, like, I don't know, like, similar to Trump in a lot of ways, he kind of gave people permission to lean into their worst intentions and to be very honest about those intentions. And that was a really big shift for the House of Representatives in Utah, because before that, to your point, it was very much like, oh no, we're going to pretend like it's something else, or we're not going to be forthcoming about why we're running this legislation. And he kind of opened the door for that. And it will be interesting, I guess, like, more far-right members of the House, if they will sort of carry the flame, I suppose one could say. Speaking of Trevor Lee trying to rename Harvey Milk Boulevard Charlie Kirk Boulevard, if they will carry the flame of that, or if there will be a shift back to what you're talking about. But I hadn't considered that. And we'll get to this in actually right now, but, like, same thing with Dan McCay, Whenever he had a bill file open, everyone was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, let's take a good look at this, because it's either a really stupid taxpayer-funded joke, or it's something that's actually really detrimental to a lot of people.
Yep. Yeah.
Good segue. Did we just segue?
Did we just
podcast
seamless segue? Anything else? Oh, I guess we should say about Trevor Lee. So Bob Stevenson, the former mayor of Layton, and a current Davis County commissioner, beat Trevor Lee.
By, like, a lot.
A lot.
I think he got, like 30-some%?
Hold, please.
Hold for fact-checking.
Trevor Lee got 34.8%. 65%. While the results did not go as we had hoped, I'm deeply grateful to the voters, volunteers, donors, and supporters who stood with our conservative vision for a stronger Utah. Their hard work, prayers, and commitment to putting families and freedom first made this campaign possible.
Whose families, Trevor?
Together, we have moved District 16 and our state meaningfully to the right.
Well, okay. You know what? That's maybe the first accurate thing that he has said. He has moved this state farther to the right.
Over the past 4 years, I was proud to help pass more than 20 bills advancing election integrity, immigration enforcement, tax relief, parental rights and education, pro-life protections, and policies that prioritize Utah families over federal overreach and radical ideologies.
This is like my nightmare bingo card.
These accomplishments reflect the values that we share: limited government, personal responsibility, and faith in God and our communities.
What?
To my opponent, Bob, I wish him the very best as he takes on this important role. Serving the people of District 16 is an honor, and I pray he will do so with integrity and a focus on what truly matters most. I now look forward to spending more precious time with my wife, Caitlin, and our children, the greatest blessings in my life. I will continue to serve our community in other ways and remain an active voice for the conservative principles that make Utah exceptional.
Maybe he'll restart his burner Twitter account.
Desnat.
Maybe he'll bring up what was his handle? It was so funny. It was like something like Stunna. It had like an A at the end instead of an ER when it was supposed to have an ER.
Oh yeah. No, Ballin Lee.
Ballin Lee. That's what it was. Yes. Okay. Good. Cut all of this before. Maybe he'll bring back his burner Twitter account. Ballin Lee.
Ballin Lee / Truth Seeker.
Truth Seeker.
The fam proc Desnat nightmare. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's how he'll serve the community, by being a Twitter troll again. Not that he ever stopped, but you know.
That's true. Can't wait. Okay, our actual good segue. Now that we interrupted it.
Yeah, we're coming back to the segue.
Forget
pretend
that
happened.
that was
we did
there.
It naturally and super well.
Yeah.
Speaking of, what was even our segue?
Speaking of...
Oh, people that open legislation, or bill files.
Speaking of bad bills.
Whatever. Anyways, Dan McCay.
Dan McCay.
Oh, Dan.
Aw, he really predicted this earlier this year.
We've been hard on Dan.
I know.
We've been hard on Dan. A lot of people have feelings about that. A lot of people have a lot of feelings about us being hard on any of the legislators.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and I will say it again. If they stop doing terrible shit, I will stop telling people about the terrible shit they're doing.
Yeah, it seems pretty simple.
It is not our fault that these people are doing terrible things, and I'm going to tell people about that.
Yeah.
So, sorry, but actually I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
Move on. All right, Dan.
Okay.
It's ready. It's Dan McCay time.
Okay, well, as a reminder, earlier this year, when his wife, Tawny McCay, was running... Last year?
Yeah, that was last year.
Dear God. Oh, yeah, because it's
Municipals.
only... Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Rewind. And remember, earlier, last year, when his wife, Tawny McCay, was running for...
Riverton?
Mayor?
She was running for mayor. Was it a Riverton?
Yeah, Mayor of Riverton, yeah. Tawny, Tawnee.
Tawny.
The
Shout
most
out.
Utah Tawny. Dan McCay made a incredible video.
Incredible.
Honestly, still one of our better videos was spoofing his video.
Oh my God. 2 politicians in one house.
In one house.
A lot of hand gestures from Dan on that one.
So many uncomfy hand gestures.
Oh, yes. The holding the giant bosoms was a lot for me, I will say. So bad.
So Anyway, in that video, he said that if she was going to win, that he would step down and that he would not run for re-election. Well,
turns out the voters said, we don't want you as mayor and we don't want you in the Senate, so...
we take neither, actually.
The McCay dynasty has fallen, unfortunately.
So she lost her election, and now he lost his election.
Yes, and the fascinating part about this is that, and this doesn't happen very often, is that a freshman, was he a freshman?
Doug Fiafia,
yeah. A freshman member of the House ran against Dan McCay. So Doug Fiafia, who was elected in 2024, ran against Dan McCay, and he beat him. Mm-hmm. This is not a common thing that we see.
Crazy.
Is, like, people in the lower house challenging people in the higher house.
Mm-hmm.
And also, they had to work together for an entire session, which I have no idea. It seems like they were pretty, like,
I know, it didn't produce
chill,
as much drama as I was hoping for, honestly.
But I feel like interpersonally it had to have not been super fun. Like, every encounter had to have felt like a high noon standoff. Like, very, I don't know. Like, yeah. It just would be super uncomfortable. Now, Doug Fiafia is no angel. I want to be clear about that. He is very conservative. I will say he is someone who has run a lot of legislation around AI regulation, which I think we can all get on board with, although he did back down from his regulation after the White House called and said they didn't want it. Mm-hmm. I have no idea how he's going to behave in the Senate. He is clearly a very ambitious person.
Yes.
I, would not be surprised if he runs for governor in a couple of years. Or Congress. Yeah. Totally. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Dan lost by quite a lot. That's the other thing that's fascinating, that Adams and Lee and McCay all lost by really significant margin.
Yeah, he lost by a bigger margin than Stuart Adams or Trevor Lee. He only got 30% of the vote. 30.5 to 69.5.
That's brutal.
That's rough.
Even as, bad as I think he is, I'm surprised that Republican voters thought he was that bad, too.
Well, he says it was because of the woke flag.
Oh, yes. Yes. If you're unfamiliar, Dan McCay was the champion. Was that last year?
No.
2 years ago?
No.
3 years ago?
It was forever ago. I don't know.
No, I was back, though.
I think it must have been 2022. It was in early days.
Okay, a few years ago, Dan McCay was the champion of the new Utah flag, which a lot of very conservative people deemed the woke flag, which is so funny because we were, erasing our pioneer heritage or something. I can't remember.
He also, it became, a joke for him and for all the rest of the legislature.
Oh, yeah.
Because, he loved that flag so much that he put it on everything. It's the background of his phone. It's the background of his computer. He would, pull it up in committee meetings.
He would, had his intern have it pulled up on a laptop, facing the camera behind him while he was presenting bills.
Yeah.
It was so silly.
He was obsessed with this flag, and it became his, little running joke. Even in his concession AI thing, it's, him with the flag. It is his crowning achievement.
A picture of the AI generated
I gotta read
post.
the poem for sure.
But yeah, and I think the other thing that he mentioned also was his vote for the subsidies to bring in the hockey team to Utah. That was his explanation, is that he voted for these taxpayer funded subsidies and the conservative base didn't like that or the woke flag, which is why he lost.
Interesting.
Which I don't really I don't believe that.
No.
At all. But if that's what makes him sleep better, then fine. But I don't believe that those two things that happened years ago.
Yeah. No, maybe not the abortion trigger ban or the trans sports ban or, all of his other
or him, genuinely being a unpleasant senator to deal with.
Yeah.
I think that when you have a reputation of someone, and we've heard this from so many people, and we have watched him in committee meetings for years.
Snap at his intern, remember that?
Oh, he literally did.
He did get that way.
It was crazy. But, I think when you are that way, when you have that attitude, when you are so uninterested in public comment or treating your own constituents with respect, I think that kind of reputation does stick. It does catch up to you at a certain point. But I truly don't know. I don't know what the reason was, and I think some of this is just the bigger political moment that we're in where it doesn't matter if you're on the right or the left or in the center, like, people are very unhappy with their incumbents. People are really upset with people that have been in power and haven't done anything to actually help them. And I think that came back to bite a lot of people in this primary.
My guess, I don't know, this is just like a straight up guess, but like my guess is also that he is an example of the fact that Utah Republicans are not very good at campaigning. And like, he has been in office for a long time, but he hasn't ever really had to like run a serious campaign. And I think that most Republican incumbents in the state feel like this sense of power or privilege or like ownership of their districts.
Or, like deservingness in some way.
And like, I think that this might just be an example of like, Doug Fiafia works harder. Like, he probably was out there doing more. He probably spent more money. He probably was knocking on more doors. Like, he probably was actually just doing the work.
Well, and he probably knew he had to.
And Dan McCay probably, like, thought that he could just, like, ride his name ID and put up some billboards and yard signs and, like, call it good. And and even if he wanted to try to campaign, like, even if Dan McCay wanted to run a full campaign, he doesn't know how. Like, he just doesn't know the mechanisms or the tactics or the, like, even if he had a ton of money to spend, he doesn't know how to interact with people to actually make them want to support and vote for him. And so, like, there's a plateau to the amount of, like, support your name can get you. You actually have to earn a vote at some point. And I get the sense that he doesn't really know how to do that.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I would be curious to know if you live in that district and you were a Republican voter, like, let us know.
Did you get a mailer? Did you get a digital ad? Like,
but I think part of this too is that, like, Dan McCay doesn't have the juice, man. Like, he doesn't have the riz. And, like, the thing that's weird about it is, like, Doug Fiafia he's super conservative. I don't know that I would pin him to, like, the right of McCay. I think they're probably, like, kind of in a similar lane. But Doug is younger. He has a lot more energy. He's a new face. He's, like, an attractive guy.
Whiter teeth.
Extremely white teeth. Like, you've never seen whiter teeth in your life. Like, I'm actually jealous. Like, and it's hard, too, because, like, I disagree, obviously, with Doug Fiafia on almost every policy proposal. He's had some that are not actually bad. But he's a super charming guy. He really is. And, like, I think part of it, too, just comes down to who do people like? And if they're looking at both the candidates, like, who do they think will, you know, have their back? Who do they think that they can trust? And a lot of that, unfortunately, does come down to people having a lot of energy and having new ideas. And someone like Doug, who's only been in office for 2 years, does have new ideas. And he's, like, willing to push things differently than someone who's been there for a long time.
And he's, like, talking about, like, AI regulation and technology and
social media and like protecting kids in a different way than Dan McCay, who's like
just using AI
by saying like we don't want trans people in bathrooms, and Doug Fiafia is like, why don't we regulate social media companies? It's just a different approach. It's new and it's fresh.
Dan McCay's just like using his AI slop to put out his concession statement.
The irony of that.
Can we read this poem?
Please read it.
It's beautifully written and formatted.
I'm sure it was written also by AI, to be so clear.
A campaign ends. Friendships don't.
Who is his friendship with? With Doug?
Principles don't.
Okay.
Love for your community doesn't. Utah's in good hands. Thank you to everyone who shared this journey with me. Next to husband and father, serving Utah has been one of the greatest honors of my life. That's it.
Also, went out with a bang there, Dan.
Each of those on a new line is really it's poetry. It's beauty.
It is robot poetry. Dan, let us know if we're wrong.
If this is not AI.
If this poem was not written by AI, please let me know, because
the little Facebook flag says that it's AI.
I know, but so is the graphic. It's really wonderful.
It is, and also this is like in a field in mountains. Like, this is not Riverton, but okay.
No, it's not.
Can I say one more thing about Dan McCay?
Of course. Please.
The other fun thing about Dan McCay is that
he really hates us?
Yes.
Is that what
you might remember?
I knew it.
You might remember we posted a video of one of the like special sessions as we were sitting in the gallery, and we were just watching these legislators just the, like, disregard that they have for the job that they're doing.
And this was, like, a very critical special session.
So important.
Yes.
And we're only up there if we're, like, really paying attention to what's going on because it matters. And so we had one senator who was clipping his fingernails.
Shout out to Cal, though.
Yeah, and Cal, and he's made a joke of it since, which is
he
pretty
took it
funny.
well.
He took it well.
The last day of the session this year, he gave out nail clippers to everyone in the Senate, which was so funny because this was like
with a picture of him from our video.
It was so good.
Which was so good. And the other clips in the video were a lot of them of Dan McCay scrolling Twitter and Facebook and like sports reels,
just hanging
while he was sitting there on the floor of the Senate as they're voting on these important bills, and he's scrolling Twitter and, like, looking at highlight clips of football games and, like, gun videos and, like...
Your tax dollars at work, everyone.
Yeah, and, I mean, we were offended by it just having to watch it, and so we took videos of it and put it on the internet, and... a little while later at the next session, when Dan McCay knew we were sitting in the gallery, he put up a giant Word document on his computer that said, "Don't take pictures of people's screens, or, like, it's creepy," or something.
Recording people's
screens is creepy.
We'll put it up. It up.
And so we put up
just
this in the largest font that he possibly could on his computer screen.
Yes.
Instead of, like, maybe just, like, doing his
paying
job.
attention for once?
Yeah. Like, doing the one thing that he's hired to do up there and, like, you know, doing the votes. No, he actually wanted, or getting a screen protector even. I mean, that would have just been a thought.
Yeah. Just one thought for you.
And instead he was like, I'm going to put this in 164-point font and I'm going to blow it up on my screen and leave it there for 20 minutes so that they can see it.
And we did.
And then we took another picture of it because that's
hilarious. It actually objectively was so funny. That is the one thing I will say about Dan McCay is that, like, he's a dickhead.
Yeah.
And he's super mean, but also he's hilarious.
He is.
And I will give him that. Like, he has some of the best Twitter game I have seen in a long time. His video, which if we can insert it, we should. He took this video of himself right after the session where they passed the new Utah flag, where he was at Lake Powell and he was wakeboarding with a giant, like, Maverick drink in one hand and then the new flag on a flagpole in the other hand while he was wakeboarding, or maybe he was skiing or surfing, I don't know. But it was so funny.
So funny.
He won Twitter that day. I'm obsessed with it. Like, yes, he is a terrible legislator and I disagree with him on everything, but I will give him that. He is a funny guy and he seems like he might be a good time to hang out with, like, outside of politics. So, shout out to you, Dan.
Wait, I'm sorry. Now I'm scrolling his Facebook. Okay, did you see this video of him with the Rubik's Cube?
No, what are you talking about?
You're gonna die, actually. This is so funny.
Oh my god.
Hold, please.
This is just us hanging with Dan McCay now.
And apparently we're doing endorsement videos now.
Oh my god. Okay.
Wait.
He's on the screen. He has all of his endorsements for his campaign while he's solving a Rubik's Cube.
But they're scrolling through. Hold on. It's about to get good. And Representative Doug Fiafia
in 2025 before he started running. Oh my god.
Okay, now we're getting family. Tawny, all of his kids, the dogs.
But not John Curtis!
Apparently we're doing endorsement videos.
Wait. My question is, what did Doug Fiafia post to make him post that?
Apparently we're doing endorsement
Oh my
videos
god.
now.
See, this is what I'm talking about. He's actually kind of hilarious.
I must know. Hold on.
Oh, it's so good. That is really funny.
That's
also,
so
he can
funny.
solve a Rubik's Cube, which is kind of impressive. See, we can give Republicans credit. He's funny and he can solve a Rubik's Cube. See, all you people that think we can't do it, we can. Not John Curtis. The fact that he put the Doug Fiafia endorse him before he declared his campaign and then not John Curtis is so good. So funny. Oh, Dan, I will miss that about you. He was entertaining.
I know, and he just loved tax policy.
He really did.
You never met a guy who loved tax policy more than Dan McCay.
Oh, bye, Dan.
Oh, it's gonna be sad.
Yeah.
Nah, it's not gonna be that sad.
It won't be that sad. Once again, he was one of the most genuinely unpleasant people in that building, and that building included Trevor Lee, so.
Yeah.
There's that. The last two that we will mention are the Box Elder County Commissioners. Lee Perry and Boyd Brigham both lost their re-elections. both of them said, without hedging, that it was because of the Stratos project vote that they took. Now, to be fair, they seem like perfectly fine guys.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about them. We've never met them. I have no idea what else they've done on the Box Elder County Commission.
They can rock a cowboy hat.
They can rock a cowboy hat. I do respect the hell out of that. Yeah, we don't know much about them, but that's not really the point that we're making here today. This is, like, not, like, some of these other legislators, again, we don't know them, like, super personally, but we know a lot more about them. These guys, we just really don't, because it hasn't been on our radar until very recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, they have both admitted that they think that they lost, and I think they're exactly right, because they had to vote, they were forced by MIDA to vote on the Stratos project, and they both decided that they really didn't have a choice in the matter. If they had voted no, the project would have continued, regardless of whatever they did. There would have been legal implications, there would have been lawsuits. So they both felt like they were kind of strong-armed in a way by the state to take this vote. And at least Lee Perry has said that he doesn't think that he would vote differently if he had to do it over, but he wishes that the state hadn't forced them to publicly own a decision that they did not ask for and to take the political hit for that decision as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot more to be said and research to be done into Box Elder County and the commissioners, and, like, there's some interesting dynamics with the planning commission and the commission itself, and, like, the land ownership and the water rights, and, like, we do not have time to get into all of that today, but we certainly will. And these representatives, or these commissioners, had been there for a while, and, like, are both fairly well-known names in the community. And yeah, I mean, like, I think this is a direct correlation of a project like that. And it was interesting to see the political consequences, not only in Box Elder County, but also for people like Stuart Adams and, you know, I think across the board. And so, yeah, that'll get you.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. Like, I don't think that they are wrong in saying that a no vote wouldn't have changed the outcome, but Box Elder residents were also not wrong for being furious about what they did and the decisions that they made, and that's kind of the whole point of this story. Yeah, exactly. Like, there are implications, and at the end of the day, like, the Utah Foundation, which polls voters quite regularly on kind of their top issues and things that they care most about, and ignoring voters or not being listened to by politicians has been at the top, or one of the top slots in that list for many years. And I think that on June 23rd, in this primary, we saw that really come to fruition. People were not happy with their representation. They did not feel like they were being listened to. They did not feel like their values or their priorities were being represented well. And they made that known at the ballot box. So, RIP. The new people that are coming in to the commission, it's only a 3-member commission. The 2 new people that won, that beat these 2 commissioners, they have said that, they have not said in any way that they plan to reverse the decision on the Stratos project. They have made it clear that they think that was the right decision. They have both said that they want more transparency and more public input in the process, but that certainly remains to be seen.
Yeah.
And so that is something that is very much worth keeping an eye on as they actually get into office and make decisions about this project.
Yeah. Certainly some interesting timing for these elections.
Oh my goodness.
Like, I wonder if we had elections, you know, obviously it would be very different if before the Stratos project, but even if our election was in, like, August, I wonder how it would have been different. Like, the June election timing for this was just, like,
very unfortunate for a lot of people.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Or good.
Or good, yeah. I mean, it depends on
Depends on your perspective.
Exactly. 2 more quick ones that are just worth a mention. Certainly worth a mention. We also had some congressional primaries on the Republican side, without any big shakeups for sure. That being said, Celeste Malloy beat Phil Lyman. She won 66-34 in a district that got redrawn to be more conservative, which I think is very interesting. Lyman, as he does, ran a bitter conspiracy-fueled campaign. Same energy that he brought to the 2024 campaign when he ran against Spencer Cox. But yeah, I think, like,
yeah.
It was
also, for the record, like, what is it? Trevor Lee ran, or Phil Lyman ran so that Trevor Lee could fly, or whatever. What's the saying?
That Phil Lyman walked so Trevor Lee could run.
Yeah.
He could fly.
Yes. Even better.
Even better.
Yeah.
He wrote the playbook.
Phil Lyman did write the playbook for Trevor Lee in the legislature. Like, when he was there, he was the one championing every election integrity,
Former state
every
representative.
conspiracy theory bill, and he lost, and he has been on a streak ever since. He's not giving up anytime soon.
A legend. An absolute legend. Truly. I find him to be incredibly entertaining. Interpersonally, he's an incredibly nice guy.
Yeah, we'll give you some lore. Can we tell a story?
Sure, we can tell the story.
Some deep. If you're this far in the podcast, you're allowed to have this kind of this lore. When we were working on the 2024 governor's campaign with Brian King, Gabby and I, for some reason in the middle of the night on a Saturday night, had this thought.
The best thought we've ever had.
To
arguably
recreate Spencer Cox and Chris Peterson's 2020.
Yes, 2020.
2020. Yeah, it was COVID. To recreate their 2020 campaign ad, where
the disagree better ad,
where they were standing with the backdrop and saying that they would disagree better and that they would all accept the results
we
of
might
the
be
election.
opponents, but we can agree on some things.
Yeah, in their red and blue ties, and it was like so many feelings about it. But we had this idea to recreate it with Brian King and Phil Lyman.
Phil was running a write-in campaign against Spencer Cox after he'd lost to Cox during the primary.
He hadn't announced the write-in campaign yet, though. We were...
Good point.
Yeah.
We may have planted a seed or two in his little brain. But yeah, we were like, look, this is a crazy idea. But the one thing that Phil Lyman and Brian King can agree on is that Spencer Cox should not be the governor.
Yeah.
And so we did. We recreated, we called it the Disagree for the Better ad. And we pitched it to Brian on like a Sunday morning. We were like, look, this is a crazy idea, but do you think that Phil would ever do an ad with us? And he was like, I have no idea, probably not. But like, we had already written the script, which was hilarious. And we were like, just, we had a very Kris Jenner moment.
Yeah.
Why don't you just call Phil up and see what he thinks? And he immediately was like, yes.
Sure.
Let me see the script. Let's talk about it. And within like 48 hours, we were on set with Phil Lyman. He drove all the way up from San Juan County to film this ad, and it was one of the funniest days of my life.
It was hilarious. I mean, we had them on that set. We made a blooper reel.
We made a hype reel before we put the ad out.
Oh my god, the hype reel was so good. We gotta put it in. But like, we had fog machines, and we had them winking, and we had them fighting, and we had them like it was
so fun.
So fun. And like, this is the part of doing this job that is the best, is that like, one, we run Democratic campaigns in Utah, and so like we kind of have nothing to lose. So like, why not put out a silly ad with Phil Lyman?
Yes.
And some people on both sides were really mad about
Hated
it. But like, truly, I still stand by it that
totally,
that was our strategy to beat Spencer Cox, to have the right go write-in Phil Lyman.
Yeah, we were like, Phil, have you thought about doing a write-in campaign? And he was like, I don't know. And we were like, well, I think it would be a really fun idea if you just wanted to think about it. And then he did it.
But truly, some of the most fun we've ever had running campaigns. We just like, sometimes you have to have a good time, and like sometimes politics needs to not be so serious. Yeah,
and I think like a lot of people will find this ironic that like we are saying this, but it's also a really interesting thing to really interact with these people that are like, Phil Lyman is a like tried and true MAGA Republican.
Yes.
I am disturbed by nearly everything that he has ever proposed or said. However, he was so fun. He was so kind. He was so respectful.
Yep.
Like, he was just like a genuinely pleasant person to be around.
He was a good hang.
He was a super good hang. He really was. And like, I will still tell people that. And like, there are a number of Republicans that we've interacted with that like are genuinely wonderful people. And I'm not saying that Phil is like a great person. I don't know. Like, that's not for me to say. But like, he was really fun. And like, the fact that he was also just down to like do something fun and experimental and like dumb and silly I think speaks a lot to, like, who he is. And I think there are a lot more Republicans out there than I think a lot of progressives give them credit for, that, like, are just, like, good people that genuinely believe the things that they say.
Yeah.
And you might disagree with those things, but, like, they believe them just as hard as we believe the things that we believe.
Yeah.
And, like, it is not to say that they're bad people or that they are, like, awful and they should be, like, kicked to the curb of American politics, because, like, that's what makes this country great, is that, like, we can have those disagreements and we can have those conversations. But yeah, it's a bit of a mindfuck for sure, that, like, every time someone brings up Phil Lyman, I'm like, my boy Phil, I love that guy, I have his cell phone number, like, he picks up the phone when I call, and I don't know.
It is, like, yeah, and it's, like, we're not gonna give him any extra leeway on, like, bad policy or being, like, I would never...
But he's not in office, so there's that. Like,
yeah, he's not in
just
office,
a crazy person
and,
on
like,
the internet.
Yeah, he should not have won this race for Congress.
For sure, no.
Yeah, but, like, you know... People are people, and
I liked it.
Sometimes you gotta make a silly ad and have fog machines with Phil Lyman.
Yes,
I don't know.
we can disagree on this is what the whole ad was about. We can disagree on literally everything else, and we can still have a good time, and we can, like, be
still
friendly.
agree that Spencer Cox is the worst governor.
Correct. And if the left and the right can agree on that, then we're moving forward. That's bipartisanship, everybody.
That is bipartisanship.
That is the American dream.
Anyway, Phil Lyman lost.
Oh,
sorry,
Phil. I'm sure he will do a lot of work to find another election to lose soon.
Yeah, I'm sure he will too, and I'm sure he'll find the voter rolls and the documents to prove that it was all
rigged.
A conspiracy theory.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
And this is getting overshadowed quite a lot.
It is.
And I think it's very important that we discuss this.
Carrie Ann
Lisenby. The young women's president, voiced woman, who also told the rest of us that women should control their semen intake when they pass the abortion trigger ban, is officially out of the legislature, and she got her ass kicked by Blake Moore.
Yeah.
Thank fucking God.
Yeah.
Again,
she won at convention.
By, like, a lot.
Yeah, by a lot. And
she beat him 61-34 at convention.
Damn.
Yeah.
And it, like, it reversed, basically, in the primary.
Yes.
She
got 42.
Shows exactly why a Republican convention path is not a good one. But, but honestly, I was a little surprised with this result. I was a little scared for Blake Moore for a second there. Yeah.
I think Carrie Ann ran a really good campaign.
Yeah.
Which, like,
Salt Lake Blake is an incredible campaign.
She had all of her ads, all of her mail were calling him Salt Lake Blake, because if you don't know, Blake Moore does not live in his district. He lives in Sugar House. He's our neighbor. But, like, more than that,
maybe it doesn't work unless you're not, like, an insider. Like, I wouldn't run that campaign. It's funny for, like, us.
No, but, like, no one really cares.
But for normal people.
Totally. But it was hilarious. She did have billboards up in the district that were, like, you're seeing this billboard, but your congressman never will, or something. Like, Blake Moore doesn't live in the district.
Good stuff.
Like, vote out Salt Lake Blake. And it was one of the most clever and hilarious billboard campaigns I've seen, in a long time. Not that we ever do billboard campaigns because they're stupid and they don't work, but it is objectively hilarious.
Yeah, if you're going to do billboards, you might as well have a little fun with them.
Yeah. But yeah, I hear you. I think, like, it was a fair anxiety to have. I think, one giant caveat, of course, like, Blake Moore is a conservative Republican. That is true.
He's in leadership.
But he is not the most conservative. He is, like, somewhat moderate. He's probably the most moderate person, maybe, like, tied with John Curtis that we have federally on the Republican, contingency from Utah. But to your point, he's in leadership. He's the vice chair of the House Republican the vice chair of the House Republican Conference, and he is, I think, positioning himself very well to at some point become the Speaker of the House, which I think is what he wants. So I'm not surprised that he had a ton of money. He ran a good campaign. He also has, like, a very good political strategist on his team.
Like, the muscle of Washington incumbency, and, like,
he also is the only Republican congressman that's actually done something. Like, he increased the child tax credit, I think is what it was, in Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, which he really ran with. And, like, as he should, because, like, that is, like, a really good thing that he actually did. They still cut it from where it was before, but he got it increased slightly. And, like, yeah, he is an incumbent, and he has been pretty good. Mm-hmm. Also, it cannot be overstated that Carrie Ann is a woman.
Yeah.
She is a blonde woman. And Blake Moore is a young, attractive guy, white guy.
Perfect family.
The perfect family. He's a junior jazz coach and a congressman. Like, that is, like... It was a very, very uphill battle to begin with, but she did run a good campaign, even though I find her extremely detestable.
Yeah. But the surprise in this race was that Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz, endorsed Carrie Ann Lisenby.
And Stuart Adams endorsed Blake Moore.
Wait! I didn't think I realized that.
I'm pretty sure.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
But, like... Speaker of the House endorsing, obviously, Carrie Ann Lisenby is, like, in his body, in his caucus, in his body.
In his chamber.
Let's not say that.
Let's not say that. Control your
I was going to say it. Carrie Ann Lisenby could never. But, obviously, you know, she works closely with the Speaker, and it would make sense for them to have a relationship, but for the Speaker of the House to endorse against an incumbent congressperson is like they have to work together with them.
What's the tea? Why do they hate him?
Why?
Well, also, I think it's interesting, too, because I think the biggest point of all of this is that Carrie Ann Lisenby ran for Congress, which means that she did not run for re-election for the legislature. So she is out of the legislature. She has been
we had heard was because her relationships were pretty spoiled with the Republican caucus.
Yeah, she was, like, on the outs for sure.
Yeah, and she got voted out of leadership. She has been on the outs for a minute in the legislature. And maybe they just endorsed to be able to kick her a little bit quicker to the curb. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either. But at the end of the day, I am just very, very, very happy that Carrie Ann Lisenby will not be holding public office in Utah. She's out of the legislature. She was, like, one of the people that ran some of the worst legislation, including the abortion trigger ban. Like, she has been a nightmare, and I am so glad that she is gone.
Yep.
This has been, obviously, a reflection on the primary elections. We have November elections this year that are going to be extremely critical, especially for a lot of down-ballot races. Particularly like the state senate, the state house, the Salt Lake County Council, some other county commissions around the state. There are a lot of races that as strategists we're watching and that we're really interested in and very excited about. I think in a episode down the line, maybe next month, hopefully, we'll do kind of a breakdown of the races that we're watching, the ones that you should watch. The most effective races to give your money and your time to.
Yeah, and how you can get involved in them.
Yes, and kind of breaking down why they're competitive and why do we think these races are competitive versus other ones, as well as some of the constitutional amendment stuff, the potential special sessions that we may or may not be having between now and November. In the meantime, register to vote if you haven't. Update your registration if you haven't. If you know someone who's 16 or 17, have them pre-register. If you know someone who is a young person who's not registered, have them register to vote. Volunteer your time if you have time to give. If you don't have time and you have money, give your money.
Yep.
Like, find a candidate that you care about. Find a candidate that you think is able to win.
I mean, if there's one thing that we saw from these elections, it's that there can be upsets, that elections can work, that the work is important, that the campaigning is important. And so, like, you know, this means we do need to work hard for the results that we want this year. And so, like...
And Democrats cannot take a potential blue wave year, a year that we think that Democrats are going to do great across the country. We cannot take that for granted. Democrats will do well this year nationally, but the question to me is still, are we going to do pretty well or as well as we could do?
Yes.
And the difference there is time, commitment, it's money, it's candidates, it is people getting involved, it is running really good campaigns. Like, we can't take this for granted, and we can't just assume that because Trump is in office that people are going to vote for Democrats, because we know that's not true, and we know especially from 2018 that does not always translate down ballot, especially for state legislative candidates.
And we only have 2 more cycles before the next redistricting cycle. 3.
26,
28, 30. Yeah. Including this year, we only have 3 more cycles until the next redistricting cycle. Yeah. And that has always been our goal before 2030, to have a different balance of control in the state legislature, because going into redistricting, That is what matters, and that is how our districts get decided, and we cannot have this supermajority control in the legislature if we ever want fair elections in our state ever again. And so...
Yes, especially with the way the courts have been shaping up.
Yes.
And how the Republicans have rebuilt the Supreme Court, we can't have a situation where there is a question about who is in control and who has power in the state.
Yeah. So, nobody get complacent. This is the time. This is great news, exciting news, but now we need to finish it.
Yeah. Yeah. Run through the tape for sure. All right. Follow us on Substack if you haven't. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe on the YouTube. Go follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And
enjoy your summers.
Yeah. Have a great summer.
Hags.